Alright everybody, Doug Lane here, Fastlane Car Care. Today I'm going to tell you my story, and I'm going to share with you how I did what many people said could not be done. So, backstory about myself. Obviously I'm Doug Lane, started Fastlane Car Care legally, officially 2018. February, I got my vendor's license. Before that, I ran the business page for about a year or so, and I just did basically just stuff for myself, my close friends, close family, stuff like that. So the reason I wanted to give you guys this story is because uh, the past few weeks, like pretty much everywhere I go, everybody asks me, how I got into it, how long I've been doing it, and all that good stuff. So I figured I'd just throw it out there, and that way everybody knows. Um, so when I was about 15, 16, so about 15 years ago, I've always been into cars. I watched all the car shows on TV and everything, you know, from the time I was a kid on up. And um, so always liked cars, always really into cars. And so when I was about 15, my grandparents got me one of those little car care kits. You get it like Walmart or whatever, like Armor All makes them, and I think just about every big company has a car care kit. And it came with like a wash soap, a mitt. Um, see what else? I think it might have had like a wheel cleaner and like a tire shine, something like that. It's a pretty basic kit by most standards. Microfiber really wasn't out yet, wasn't really a thing. Um, you know, chamois. And I think they got on top of that. I think they got me a bucket, and a chamois or something like that. So basically, I had everything that I needed to start washing my car. And so, obviously, I was getting my mom's car. I knew I was getting my mom's car as a hand-me-down when I started driving. But I would wash my soon-to-be my car, my grandparents' cars, all that sort of thing. And then when I started driving, I should say, my best friend that lived down the street, we this is when the point and shoot cameras were like just getting big, and they were a couple $100 for a decent one. And by today's standard, like every cell phone, it has a better camera and all that good stuff. But what we would do is we would just wash our car. Like, we had all kinds of time, during school. We didn't really, I work, but obviously when you're young, you don't work 40 hours. You have school and other obligations. So we'd wash our cars together. I'd go to his house, he'd come to my house, and we'd wash our cars, and then we'd go drive around and take pictures of them. That was our thing to do. We'd find cool places to take pictures. And usually it's pictures of a car. We'd go to Dawes Arboretum, we'd go, downtown Zanesville, we'd go down to the boat docks, all kinds of stuff. We'd take these pictures and, like I said, wash our cars. So, obviously that kit only lasts so long, and then you've got to start buying more soap, more tire gel, more, all this. So, started playing around with what brands I liked, buying different stuff. Different brands, different types, experimenting with a lot of different things, and did that for a number of years. Let's see. So then, ended up, I ended up wrecking that car and got a 2002 white Acura RSX Type S. It was a premium white pearl. Leather interior, so then I had to learn how to take care of leather interior, and I always kept my cars very clean. Like, some of these, especially girls, and a lot of times when you're high school girls, they've got stuff everywhere, clothes, water bottles and all that. That's definitely not me. Like, there might be dust and dirt in my car, but there was never trash or anything like that. And so had to learn how to take care of leather and some stuff like that. And I remember getting New Finish, what do they call it, like the twice a year car polish or whatever, and bought a couple of microfiber applicating pads. Microfiber was starting to take hold, but it was still, it wasn't mainstream. This is basically before the internet was really, so we were talking around like 2007. Well, no, it would have been 2009 by then. Yeah, 2008, 2009, something like that. Um, I had, so the internet was around, obviously, but it wasn't like you could just get on YouTube and just look up anything you ever wanted to know like it is now. You couldn't just Google the answer to every single question. There was a lot of content, yes, but, there just wasn't as much as there is today by any means. So, read the instructions, figure out how to do it, and oh my gosh, that was the worst thing ever. I don't think I ever waxed it again after that. Not with like an actual hand wax, because it just took forever. My arms, both of them, felt like they were going to fall off. I had to, I'd do a little bit with my right arm, and I'd do a little bit with my left arm, and it was terrible. So then years go by. I bought a truck, and it was basically just like a work truck. It was in good shape. I got a pretty good deal on it, but it was like I didn't put much money into it, so I didn't really want to put a bunch of time into it either, into keeping it clean and everything. So I'd power wash it and stuff like that, but didn't really get as serious into it as I normally would, just vacuum it out and stuff like that. And pretty much did that for the next couple of cars until 2016. 2016, I bought my first car. It was a leftover 2015 Honda Fit, and that was my baby, man. That was the first new car I ever had. I wanted to keep it, clean and pristine. I was washing it 3-4 times a week. Pretty much anytime I get home from work, it's nice out, I just wash it just for something to do. And so, Facebook and everything, I had some friends that were taking notice. My car was always clean, and they wanted me to wash their cars, clean their cars and stuff. And in this time, I also noticed what are called swirl marks or spider webs on the paint. And I was like, how did I get these? There can't be spiders on my car. I literally just cleaned it, just pulled it in the garage. And that's when I had to look up what they were, how to fix them, and all that good stuff, and went down the rabbit hole of like professional detailing, not just washing cars, not just making sure the wheels and tires are shiny, not making sure you vacuum well, like paint correction. I'm talking about how to polish paint, touch up paint for rock chips, clay barring, getting the contaminants out of the paint that otherwise you won't get out, stuff like that. So do this and buy all the stuff. I'm spending $400 or $500 a month on car care products, and so I had a couple people asking me to do theirs, so I decided, well, I'll just order extra towels, bigger bottles of stuff. That way I can basically make a little bit of money off my friends, and that'll cover my costs, so I get to have all the best stuff, and they're obviously getting the best stuff too, or what I felt was the best at the time. And that's a loaded question. That's a loaded statement. The best is completely relative. Everybody's version of the best is going to be different. So we'll talk more about that later. So while I had to learn all this stuff, I'm watching different YouTubers, different channels. And that's when I really learned about rinseless washes and waterless washes and mobile detailing. So thanks to the internet, I learned that mobile detailing was huge everywhere, apparently except for here. And with the capabilities of rinseless wash, you don't need a power washer. You don't need a water tank. You can just use a gallon of water, and you can do a couple cars with that gallon of water. And you're washing it, waxing it in one step, or with one product. It's not the traditional where you have to rinse it off, soap it all down and then rinse all that soapy water off and then dry it. But the downside of that is it can't be like, I probably wouldn't want to rinseless wash that just because it's completely dirty. So it's really ideal for like a more well-maintained vehicle, but it can be done, but not really the subject. But so the gears start turning. I'm thinking, I've got a day job. I'm making good money. I'm working 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. So at 2 p.m. when I get off work during the summer, I've got, several hours of daylight left. I can play around, experiment, and do different things. And my job at the time, I ran forklift in a freezer, so I pretty much had all kinds of time. There was like one other person in the freezer. I had all kinds of time to just run numbers, and that's what I did. I was thinking, I started running the numbers. Well, this is how much it cost me per car, and if I could do it at this much per car, then that would cover my time and my profit, and we could make like a viable go at this. Nobody else does it around here. It's unheard of. And the convenience of it, right? I mean, the convenience would be huge, because now you don't have to sit in line at the car wash. You don't have to take your car anywhere and drop it off and get a ride home and then get a ride back. You don't have to let a stranger drive your car, somebody you've never met. You don't know them. You don't know if they have a record. You don't know how they drive. You don't know if they, you put them behind the wheel of your Corvette and they're going to do burnout. You just don't know. So like I was thinking, there's no way you could lose at this. And now obviously, well, not obvious to you guys, but I was pretty blessed that just about everybody in my family had owned a business at some point. So I was around that a lot, and I knew basically how business worked. And then obviously growing up in the social media and the digital age, I knew a lot about how people use social media. And so I knew that was going to be my main form of advertisement. Let's see. So sorry guys, my brain runs like 200 miles per hour. So I'm trying really hard to stay on track. So I'm thinking about this as an idea, and I'm, planning out, okay, I need a logo, I need this, and what all do I need to do? And, I was talking to some of my family members at a get together one time. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna do this, man. And I'll tell you what, it's so funny, because the people you think are your biggest fans will usually be the first people to shut you down off the bat. And I remember one of my relatives, I told him the whole spiel and everything, and they said, nobody's ever going to pay you to wash their car. And I remember that was in my head, and a lot of people would say, oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right. That was a silly idea. But I just remember sitting there thinking to myself, we'll see. Because the thing is, I'd already done hundreds of hours of research into mobile detailing and how to do it, how it works, tips, techniques for advertising, marketing, and all this stuff. So I knew people were making money at it. I knew people were paying their bills with it. So I knew that eventually, I would be able to do that. And, so started looking into it more seriously. Remember, I'm still doing stuff for friends and family, still taking good care of my car. I'm learning that, I could do my car completely in about 2.5 hours. And then I was doing some friends' cars, and it was, they were in way worse shape. So I was getting my idea of pricing because of how much time I was going to have invested in the average car, and how the average person takes care of their car, etc. So constantly learning, still doing my thing, and I start putting looking for somebody to do a logo for me, because I'm not artistic at all. Not at all. I cannot draw to save my life. But it just came to me one day, this rough idea of this, actually. I knew I wanted to splash, and I knew what I wanted to call it, which is another thing. Fastlane Car Care, obviously, because my name's Doug Lane. A lot of people, thought it was corny, cheesy. I said, well, give me a better name. You come up with a better name, and I'll go with that. I'll pay you for it. Nobody ever did. So, Fastlane Car Care it is. And so, end up getting the logo done, start getting the ball rolling. At this point, I was really like, well, at the end of summer, I wanted to see how that winter went, because I know a lot of times detailing and stuff like that is very seasonal. And so that winter came, and I think I did like 3 cars. Like, I did next to nothing. And I was like, whew, glad I didn't go full-time with that, because you get vendor's license and you got to pay your sales tax, and it's, all this other stuff you have to take into consideration. And so I didn't want to do it that first year, 2016, 17. So then another summer comes along. doing pretty well. Decided I'm going to get my vendor's license 2018, February 2018. Go to the courthouse, get my vendor's license. And now I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about the IRS. I can advertise as much as I want. I can, do everything. All I have to do is keep track of everything, so that way I can write it off and report my income and earnings and all that good stuff. Well, I had people at work telling me, oh, you'll never make it. It takes 5 years for a business to turn a profit. It takes 5 years for a business to get established, and blah, 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 and on and on. And really, that can be true. It really depends. There are so many different variables into what determines the successfulness of a business. And, I just stuck with it. I was at the point in my day job where it was like, there's really no room for advancement. So I was going to be stuck. And I'm a numbers guy. So remember, like every day at work, I'm running these numbers. I'm thinking, okay, well, if I want this car and it costs this much money and all my other bills are this much, then I need to make this much, but I'm stuck. I'm only going to make this much. So I'll never be able to buy this car or a bigger house or, whatever, if I don't increase my income. So being stuck in a position where it's union, you're only going to make as much as you're going to make. I mean, yeah, you get little raises here and there, cost of living and stuff like that, but it doesn't amount to anything significant. Especially when your cost of living usually goes up more than the cost of living raise. So that's obviously a big problem. So I had this determination that I was like, well, I want to be able to do X, Y, Z. I don't want to be stuck in the same schedule, having to work 6 a.m., 2 p.m. I had Mondays and Tuesdays off. So I worked every weekend except for vacations, and the vacations were goofy too because they run Sunday through Saturday. So when you work weekends, you don't get a full weekend off unless you take a personal day, and you only get so many of those. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know how it goes. So that was just, I'm just running all these numbers. I'm thinking, well, I just need to do this many cars at this price and, so on and so forth in order to break even and all that. And what a lot of people don't realize is how to leverage social media in your favor in your business. If you look at a lot of businesses, you may like their page on Facebook, but they may never post anything. They're not adding any value. They're not teaching you anything about anything. So, and another thing is a lot of businesses don't keep their word. You can talk to somebody and say, hey, I want you to come out and take a look at this. I'll pay you for your time, but I just need an idea of what to do. And oh yeah, okay, yep, we'll do that, and we'll get you straightened out. And then they never show up. How many times have you talked to somebody about any kind of business deal or whatever, and it never happens. They never do anything. A really great example of that is was what made me start tinting windows. I wanted to get my windows tinted on that Fit. And I called a shop and I said, this is who I am. This is what I have. I left them a message because they didn't answer. Imagine that. This is who I am. This is what I have. This is what I want done. Tell me how much cash to bring and when to bring it. Because remember, I'm detailing on the side, so I've got fun money, basically. I've got extra money. My bills are paid with my day job. Basically anything I did detailing was extra, so when I decided I wanted to do something, I'm ready to do it now. And, never called me back. Never picked up the phone, called me back. I call another place, which I just made a loop. Like that day, I hang up with that place, call the next place. Next place says, oh, give me 2 weeks. We're real busy. Give me 2 weeks. Call another place, same deal. 2 weeks, give me 2 weeks. We're backed up. Okay, cool. So I have options. Go back around 2 weeks to the day. Start calling. Well, the company I left the voicemail with didn't answer the phone. I said, well, they didn't return my last message. I'm not calling them back. Not going to leave another message. Call the next place. Oh, yeah, we're still real busy, man. Give me 2 weeks. I called you 2 weeks ago. You said to call you in 2 weeks. Now you're telling me another 2 weeks? You didn't write down a Post-it note. You didn't put an alert in your calendar. You didn't, make a note that, hey, this other person wants something done. If you were booked for 4 weeks, say you're booked for 4 weeks. Don't tell me to call you in 2 weeks and then tell me to call you in another 2 weeks and 2 weeks. And I'm probably a little bit upset about it. I don't remember exactly how the conversation went. But it was basically to the effect of, You told me 2 weeks 2 weeks ago. So now you expect me to wait another 2 weeks. Well, let me go look at my calendar. Okay, you couldn't have done that 2 weeks ago? So, long story short, it took me a month and a half to get my windows tinted. And when I got the 4Runner over here, I needed the front two windows tinted on it. Called around. I was actually in one company's office with one of my friends that was getting their vehicle tinted. And I said, hey, how much would it be for the front two windows and a windshield strip? And they said $150 and walked away. Okay, I wanted to make an appointment, but obviously you don't want my money. So that's when I just ordered everything off of Amazon, started watching a bunch of YouTube videos, and got to it. So, a lot of people just don't, they don't advertise correctly. They don't realize that they're advertising for themselves all the time. Everybody, whether you're in business or not, you're advertising for yourself every minute of every day. Every choice you make, every word you say, every post you like, every post you share says something about you, and people will take notice of that subconsciously or consciously, depending on what it is. And if you can't formulate a proper sentence, it makes you look less intelligent, and people are judging constantly, even though they don't realize it. So who are you likely to spend money with? Somebody that writes at a third grade level, or somebody that writes, as a mature, educated adult? And I'm not saying it's fair, I'm not saying it's right, but that's just the way it is. That's the way life is, and I knew that. So that's why I do the videos. That's why I do videos showing you guys what to do, because when I got into detailing, I realized there was so much misinformation, so many lies with the products, with the companies. And I'm just the type of person that when you tell me that this is going to last for a year, I'm going to put it to the test. And if it doesn't work, I'm not going to buy it again. If something doesn't work as advertised, I let people know about it. So I try everything for myself and, go from there basically. So I started doing the videos originally just to educate people. It really wasn't to draw in more business, but I learned that's actually like a byproduct of educating people. So yeah, people said that I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to make a business out of this. For about a year or so, I detailed and worked a full-time job. I get off at 2, and then I start booking appointments at like 3. So from 3 to 8, 3 to 9, sometimes longer than that. I was detailing on my vacations. I had weeks, I had work lined up, and so sorry, I'm kind of like sidetracking there, because this story kind of it's not a straight line. It's kind of multiple things converging and coming together to get us to this point where we are today. So 2019, I was getting burnout. Like the beginning of 2019, I was getting burnout. Did a handful of cars over the winter, so I knew that if I could get through this winter, I would be fine, and I was going to risk it. And I was getting so busy that I had to start leaving work early, and I had to start calling off work early to go make money, because even on my free time, I was making about or as much money as I would at 40 hours in just working in my spare time. Normally I work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, sometimes Saturday mornings or Saturday afternoons, but that was pretty much it. I didn't really work Sunday, didn't work Monday or Tuesday because I had to take care of my kid. Yeah, so here I am. I was making more money than I was at my day job, and I was getting burnt out just being stuck in the same spot and dealing with the same BS. I'm sure a lot of you people are familiar with that. So eventually I just, I was burnt out, stressed out, and my girlfriend's like, well, what's going on? Why are you being so crabby lately? And I said, I'm just tired of waking up every morning to go somewhere I hate to go, doing something that I don't mind doing. The job was fine. A lot of the people that I worked with was fine. It's just, I guess a lot of people won't understand, but a lot of you will. Being stuck in the same spot, waking up knowing that no matter what you do, no matter how good you work, no matter how much extra effort you put in, you're making the same money as the guy that doesn't care about his job. You're making the same money. It's just the same. There's no reward for improvement. And I know a lot of jobs aren't like that, but this one is where it was. So I had basically the choice of getting another job, or keep going with what I was doing, and that's what I decided to do. I eventually quit that job and I started just detailing and tinting windows full time. And everybody said I was crazy. A lot of people said I was stupid. I was never going to make it. It wasn't going to work. Well, here I am. You know what I mean? Here I am. I made it work. I'm not done by any means. They say typically it takes 3 to 5 years for a business to turn a profit. Went through just the credit card transactions and my physical receipts. So this is like a probably 98% cash business. I run very few cards. And basically I put in all my receipts, invoices and everything, figured up all of my like hard costs, and my credit card transactions alone, took care of that. So I get to write off a percentage of my phone bill and a percentage of the truck, based on mileage. And so depending on where the official numbers are at the end, remember I've still got all of my spreadsheet information to enter all the cash payments, and then the income from December where I switched to a new system, and I keep track of everything via it because it's way easier than remembering to do a spreadsheet. So I did what nobody thought I could do. Turned a profit my second legal year. 2018, so then 2019 to 20. So yeah, here we are, and we're not stopping. We're going to keep going, honing in on advertisement strategies. I really need to get an employee because summertime can get pretty crazy busy, as it was. Last year I had my cousin help me out on a few jobs, and it worked out great. Then he dislocated his shoulder, so that sucked. But yeah, we'll 99% chance I'll end up having to legally hire somebody, and it's all thanks to you guys, man. Like that's what I think that a lot of businesses take that for granted. They just see customers and clients as dollar signs, and I think that's one thing that's always separated me apart from everybody else. You guys are my family. I talk with you guys on in the comments sections. If anybody, people message me at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and 9 times out of 10, I'll message you right back. 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, I get messages. This business does not ever stop for me. I don't just say, well, it's Saturday, I'm not going to answer any. I don't. Like, you guys are all like family to me. I remember, I don't think that I've ever showed up to anybody's house like that's called me back to do something else and like not remembered. I've never not remembered who they were or what kind of car they had or whatever. And it's funny because my girlfriend will be like, well, who's that? What all work do you have to do this week? And I'll be like, oh, I got to go to this person's house and this person's house. And she'll be like, well, who's that? And I'm like, oh, it's the one with this car and that car. And she's like, no, I don't remember. I'm like, it was like 3 weeks ago that I saw him last, we just had this conversation or whatever. But yeah, you guys are all like my family. So I appreciate it. I appreciate every like. I appreciate every comment. I appreciate every share. Those things are huge for small businesses because Facebook, YouTube, all of them, they want ad dollars. They want me to spend money to let more people see their posts. So back when I had 200 to 300 followers on this page, I could pretty easily get 200 to 300 people to see my posts. Now, obviously, as I do this more, I get better at content creation. Basically, I get better at making videos. I don't, my first video, oh my gosh, my first video was terrible. Like, it took me forever to do, to work up the nerve because I was so like camera shy. I was so like worried about what people were going to think in the comments that they were going to leave, and and I did have some people offline that made fun of me for the fact of doing it, but that's just a fact of doing anything outside the comfort zone. Anytime you push yourself, it's going to make the people around you, if they're a certain type of person, it's going to make them, feel challenged by that. So, it wasn't nearly as bad as what I thought it was going to be. And so that just gave me the confidence to keep doing it. And obviously, the more you do something, the better you get at it. So, yeah, as I got better and as I continue to get better, now we've got 640 or 650 followers on the page. But it's actually really difficult for me to get 300 people to see my posts. And that's because now as I get bigger, Facebook says, hey, we want more money, we want money, we want money. And the way to get around that is to have people like you guys that like and share and all that good stuff. So reviews mean a ton, you know, everything means, you know, it means the world to me, because honestly, I can't really explain it other than thanks to you guys. You helped me do what so many people said could not be done, said I wouldn't be done. They said I would be back at my day job in months. They said I would be broke. They said all these sort of things, and it just never happened. And part of it is obviously my mindset. I don't give up. I don't quit. But it wouldn't matter if I didn't give up or if I didn't quit if it weren't for people like you out there. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. There's a lot more to the story, I think, but I'm sure this video is probably way long enough. So if you made it this far, thank you. I'll see you guys later.